smoked marijuana to try not to ever have a seizure in public. I have a seizure condition, and I tried to mask that seizure condition by smoking marijuana.
On March 10th, 1958, in the small town of Meadville, Pennsylvania, Sharon Von Stone entered the world, destined to become a household name. She was the second of 4 children born to Dorothy, an accountant and homemaker, and Joseph Stone, a hard-working tool and dye manufacturer. The Stone family lived a modest life in this quiet, close-knit community, where everyone knew each other and the rhythms of life were steady, predictable, and simple. Yet, beneath the surface of small-town tranquility, Sharon's early years were marked by challenges that would shape her into the resilient, determined woman she would later become. Sharon Stone, a journey from trauma to triumph. From an early age, Sharon exhibited a sharp intellect that set her apart from her peers. She was an exceptional child, learning to walk and talk before she was even a year old. By the time she entered school, it was evident that she was highly gifted. Her academic prowess earned her praise, but it also isolated her. The other children, intimidated by her intelligence, found it difficult to relate to her, and Sharon struggled to form meaningful friendships. She spent much of her time immersed in books, her solace, and her refuge from the world around her. Books were not just a source of escape, but a key to understanding the world beyond Meadville. A world that seemed out of reach, yet one Sharon dreamed of exploring. Despite her remarkable academic achievements, Sharon's upbringing was fraught with hardship. Her family's financial situation was tenuous at best. With 4 children to raise, Dorothy and Joseph Stone often struggled to make ends meet. Her father, Joseph, worked long hours at a factory, while her mother, Dorothy, balanced multiple jobs to keep the household running. Sharon witnessed firsthand the toll that financial strain took on her parents, and it instilled in her a sense of independence and a fierce desire to make a better life for herself. Yet, as much as the financial challenges weighed heavily on her family, they were not the most devastating aspects of Sharon's childhood. A dark family secret. Sharon's childhood was marred by a painful and devastating secret, a trauma that would remain buried for years, only resurfacing in her adult life during therapy. Sharon's maternal grandfather, whom she called Pop, was a source of fear and confusion. Over the years, he subjected Sharon to abuse that would scar her emotionally. This abuse, a secret she kept to herself for many years, was so severe that Sharon, as a young girl, blocked much of it from her memory. The trauma was so overwhelming that, as an adult, she could not initially recall the details of her grandfather's actions, but over time, these painful memories slowly resurfaced. In her memoir, The Beauty of Living Twice, Sharon Stone courageously shared her story, revealing the chilling truth about her grandfather's treatment of her. He not only abused her, but also made constant threats against her life. Sharon's fear was so palpable that it left her feeling powerless and isolated, even though she shared a room with her sister, Kelly. The deep emotional scars left by this experience created an almost impenetrable wall between Sharon and her family, one that kept her from seeking comfort or support from those around her. As if the emotional scars weren't enough, the situation worsened. Sharon recounted an eerie moment at her grandfather's funeral when, after his death, her grandmother locked the door of the room where his body lay, allowing Sharon and Kelly to watch as his lifeless form rested in the casket. For Sharon, this moment marked the end of a horrific chapter in her life, but the emotional aftermath would linger long after. Yet, despite the profound darkness of her early life, Sharon's inner strength and determination allowed her to survive, even thrive, in the face of adversity. The strained relationship with her father. Sharon Stone's early years were marked by a volatile and painful family dynamic, particularly her strained relationship with her father, Joseph Stone. Growing up in Meadville, Pennsylvania, Sharon faced a tumultuous home life, and while her relationship with her grandfather was fraught with abuse, her father's treatment added another layer of hardship to an already difficult childhood. Joseph Stone was a man of intense contradictions, strict, temperamental, and quick to anger, with lofty expectations for his children, particularly his daughter. His mood swings were unpredictable, and when things didn't go as he wished, his temper would flare. Sharon often found herself on the receiving end of his ire, as his expectations weighed heavily on her. While her father's discipline was intended to instill respect and responsibility, it often crossed into physical punishment. Sharon's early years were colored by the sting of her father's harsh discipline, a painful reality that she couldn't escape. This emotional and physical hardship was compounded by the presence of her grandfather, whose abuse left deep scars in Sharon's psyche. These formative experiences at home, filled with uncertainty and fear, set the stage for much of Sharon's later emotional battles. By the time she was 14, Sharon had reached a breaking point. She had endured years of emotional and physical strain, and the weight of it all became too much to bear. In a moment of defiance and raw anger, Sharon confronted her father in a way that would change their relationship forever. With her voice shaking, but her resolve clear, she asked him, "What's the matter? Do you need to hit me some more to feel like a man?" The words were as cutting as they were courageous, spoken with a mixture of pain and frustration. For the first time, Sharon's father was struck by the force of his daughter's pain, and, in an unexpected turn, he began to cry. It was as though her words had unlocked something in him, a moment of vulnerability that had never existed before. In that emotional exchange, Sharon found the courage to express years of suppressed anger, hurt, and disillusionment. "I never loved you. I never have loved you. And I never will," she told him. Those words, laced with years of unspoken grief, shattered something inside her father. It was a profound moment, one that would alter the dynamics of their relationship forever. From that day forward, Joseph Stone never physically disciplined his children again. While this moment marked the end of the physical abuse, the emotional scars remained, and Sharon's relationship with her father would never be the same. The confrontation, while cathartic, didn't instantly heal the wounds, but it marked the beginning of Sharon's journey toward emotional healing and self-empowerment, academic achievement, and isolation. Despite the chaos at home, Sharon was a driven and intelligent student. Her sharp mind and love for learning provided her with a sense of escape, a way to transcend the emotional turmoil of her personal life. Sharon excelled academically, a path that set her apart from her peers, but also deepened her sense of isolation. While many of her classmates were more concerned with socializing and fitting in, Sharon buried herself in her studies, seeking solace in her academic success. However, this dedication to learning came at a cost. Sharon was often ridiculed for her intelligence, her peers calling her know-it-all, and teasing her for being weird. These labels made her feel like an outsider, someone who didn't quite belong in the world of teenage norms. Sharon's adolescence was marked by this sense of alienation. She didn't fit in with the other kids, especially as she was often labeled as different, not just for her intellect, but also for her lack of adherence to the conventional beauty standards of the time. While many of her classmates were preoccupied with social status and dating, Sharon was more focused on her studies, constantly pushing herself to excel. She described herself as an awkward teenager, feeling out of place and far removed from the idealized image of beauty that her peers aspired to. Despite her own perception of being unattractive, Sharon's academic prowess shone brightly. By the time she was 15, she had completed an accelerated high school program and graduated from Seegertown High School, well ahead of her peers. Her early graduation was a significant achievement, but it also deepened her sense of being an outsider. She was younger than most of her classmates, which created an emotional divide. While the other kids were enjoying typical teenage experiences, Sharon was preparing for the next step in her life, a step that felt both promising and isolating. After high school, Sharon moved on to the University of Edinburgh in Pennsylvania, where she pursued a scholarship and continued her academic journey. She focused on creative writing and fine arts, hoping that this would be the path to a future beyond her small-town roots. However, even in college, Sharon still struggled to fit in. Her age gap from most of her peers further emphasized her sense of alienation, making her feel out of place in a world that seemed so different from her own. She described herself as an ugly duckling, yearning for something beyond the confines of her hometown and the intellectual world she had immersed herself in. While she was determined to succeed academically, there was still a part of her that longed for a deeper sense of connection, something more than books and grades. A traumatic accident, a reminder of life's fragility. In addition to the emotional turbulence at home, Sharon's teenage years were marked by a traumatic physical event that would leave her with lasting scars, both emotional and physical. At the age of 14, she suffered a painful accident that would become a constant reminder of life's unpredictability and fragility. While attempting to break a horse, a task that had its own risks, Sharon fell and fractured her leg. The injury, which required extensive medical attention, added another layer of hardship to her already tumultuous life. The physical pain from the accident served as a stark reminder of her vulnerability, and it compounded the emotional struggles she was facing at the time. Though she would eventually recover physically, the trauma of the event stayed with her, as did the underlying sense of fragility it left behind. This incident became symbolic of her larger life, constantly navigating pain, overcoming obstacles, and finding resilience in the face of adversity. Sharon's life, marked by emotional and physical scars, would require years of healing, but it also taught her the strength of the human spirit and the power of perseverance. The high-profile romances and their fallout. As Sharon's career continued to rise throughout the 1980s and 1990s, her love life became a topic of public fascination. Her relationships were highly scrutinized, and the media often portrayed her romantic endeavors with an intense lens, focusing on her celebrity status and the personalities she was involved with. In 1992, Sharon briefly dated country singer and actor Dwight Yoakam, a relationship that made headlines at the time, as the pairing seemed unexpected to many. Despite their brief fling, it was clear that Sharon was searching for something deeper than fleeting attractions. Later, in 1992, Sharon entered a more serious relationship with producer William J. McDonald. Their connection was strong, marked by shared intellectual and emotional compatibility. The two became engaged, and for a time, it seemed like Sharon had found the stability she had been yearning for. Yet, as so often happens in life, their love story did not withstand the pressures of fame and the demands of a public relationship. By 1994, the couple parted ways. Their engagement dissolved. Despite the deep affection they shared, they were unable to navigate the complexities of their different worlds, and the pressures of Hollywood eventually led them down separate paths. Sharon's experiences in these relationships, though painful at the time, left her with important realizations about the fleeting nature of fame-fueled romances and the challenges of maintaining love in the glare of the public eye. Marriage to Phil Bronstein and parenthood. A glimmer of hope. One of Sharon's most significant relationships came in 1998, when she married Phil Bronstein, a prominent journalist and executive editor of the San Francisco Examiner. Their marriage seemed to offer Sharon a sense of stability and a departure from the whirlwind of Hollywood romances she had previously encountered. Phil, with his quieter, less flashy public persona, seemed like the kind of partner who could offer her the kind of grounded life she had longed for. The couple's union appeared strong, with Sharon and Phil building a life together that seemed to have all the makings of a happy, successful relationship. 2 years into their marriage, they took a major step in building their family together by adopting a son, Rowan Joseph Bronstein. The arrival of Rowan was a turning point for Sharon, as motherhood became a central part of her life. She embraced the role of mother wholeheartedly, pouring all her love and attention into her son, who would later become a key figure in her life as she navigated the ups and downs of both personal and professional struggles. However, like so many of Sharon's previous relationships, her marriage to Phil ultimately faltered. By 2004, after years of tension and growing differences, the couple divorced. The dissolution of their marriage was not only painful, but also marked by a highly publicized custody battle for their son, Rowan. The custody battle, which played out in the media, added to the emotional weight Sharon was already carrying, leaving her feeling both devastated and determined. Despite the heartbreak of the divorce and the media scrutiny, Sharon remained resolute in her desire to be a strong, loving mother to Rowan, ensuring that her personal struggles didn't interfere with her responsibility as a parent. Searching for meaningful connections. Despite the emotional turmoil of her past relationships, Sharon continued to seek love, connection, and companionship. While her previous marriages had ended in disappointment, she refused to let these failures define her approach to romance. Sharon's journey through love has been far from perfect, yet it has been filled with a sense of hope and a desire to understand herself better through her experiences with others. In the years following her divorce from Phil, Sharon was linked to several notable figures. Between 2014 and 2016, she was in a relationship with actor David Delos, a romance that captured the attention of the media. While their relationship brought Sharon happiness for a time, it ultimately came to an end like so many others. In 2018, rumors swirled about a potential romance with Italian real estate mogul Angelo Boffa. Their connection was brief but noteworthy, adding another chapter to Sharon's ever-evolving love life. Through all these relationships, Sharon never lost sight of the fact that love is not a perfect or easy pursuit. She learned the importance of self-worth and emotional strength, qualities that became more evident as she continued to navigate the complexities of modern romance. Her experiences taught her that love is not simply about finding the perfect person, but about growing together, sharing mutual respect, and being willing to face the challenges that inevitably arise. Embracing singlehood and focusing on self. As time went on, Sharon became more vocal about her evolving views on love and relationships. After years of navigating through the ups and downs of romance, she made a bold decision. In 2020, during an appearance on The Drew Barrymore Show, Sharon declared, "I'm done dating. I've had it with dating. I just find people to be insincere and not worth my time." Her words resonated with many who had experienced the frustration and disillusionment that can accompany modern dating. Sharon's decision to step away from the dating scene was not a result of bitterness, but rather a choice to focus on self-growth and personal fulfillment. Sharon's focus shifted to her role as a mother, her career, and her dedication to her philanthropic efforts. Rather than seeking romantic connections, she chose to prioritize her own well-being and the happiness she found in the company of close friends and loved ones. Her decision to embrace singlehood was a testament to her ability to redefine what fulfillment meant to her and to take control of her narrative, free from the pressures of societal expectations. Her candidness about her frustrations with modern dating, especially in the age of online platforms and fleeting connections, has been refreshing. Sharon has openly criticized the superficiality of many online dating apps, recounting her experiences with fake profiles and misrepresentation. She once recalled an encounter with a man who looked nothing like his photos, a scenario that left her disillusioned with the entire process. Despite these challenges, Sharon remains committed to the idea of authentic connections, a theme that has been consistent throughout her journey. In 2019, she took to social media to share her frustration when her Bumble account was temporarily banned due to the assumption that it was a fake profile. "Hey at Bumble, stop being exclusionary," she tweeted, calling out the platform for its failure to recognize her authenticity. The incident went viral, and Bumble eventually reinstated her profile, offering an apology. It was a moment that highlighted not only the absurdities of modern dating, but also Sharon's unflinching commitment to being herself, regardless of the platform or the audience. The real meaning of love: Sharon's resilience. Through all the heartbreaks, the media scrutiny, and the challenges that come with being a public figure, Sharon has remained remarkably resilient. She has experienced the full spectrum of love, from the early excitement of her first marriage to the pain of divorce, the joy of motherhood, and the eventual acceptance of her singlehood. Through it all, she has learned that love is not something that can be controlled or forced. It's a dynamic force that requires patience, understanding, and, most importantly, a sense of self-worth. Sharon's journey is a reminder that love, in all its forms, is one of life's most transformative experiences. Whether in a relationship, a friendship, or in the love we have for ourselves, it is a powerful force that shapes who we are and how we navigate the world. Sharon Stone's journey through romance and heartbreak has been long and complex, but it has ultimately led her to a place of peace and self-empowerment. She may have encountered many obstacles along the way, but her ability to embrace herself and her experiences with authenticity and grace is what makes her story so compelling. In a world where superficial connections are often glorified, Sharon's journey serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of seeking depth, connection, and emotional honesty. Her story proves that love is not something that can be pursued at all costs. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is choose yourself, love deeply, and never settle for anything less than real, meaningful connection.